All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Now, today I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about something that I have noticed a lot in the Christian religion and also when it comes to Judaism. And as a Muslim myself, one thing that we honor a lot in Islam is when it comes to Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, Jesus. We as Muslim, we love Jesus. We cannot even be Muslim unless we believe in Jesus, we love Jesus. In fact, we believe that he was Messiah. And so, with that being said, when it comes to the Jewish scripture, they don't believe in Jesus. In fact, they believe that Jesus was nothing more than just a troublemaker. Okay, and they in fact compare him to another prophet who they believe was wicked. Okay, and one of the names that they claim about him was, I don't know, Balaam. I don't know exactly how you pronounce that. I don't want to embarrass myself on here, so I don't want to pronounce that. But that's somebody that they compare Jesus to, and something that is said in their Bible, not in the Bible, sorry, in the Talmud. Okay, I really appreciate the fact that this Christian actually stood up and asked Ben Shapiro about this, even though, to be honest, I don't really believe Ben Shapiro is the right person to ask about it because I don't think he's a rabbi. I'm not really sure. But then again, Jews, they do go through their scripture and they try to memorize it at a very young age. And so, with that being said, I want you guys to just watch this and I will show you guys some of the evidence as to how Judaism perceived Jesus in the Talmud.
Good evening, Mr. Piro. You have consistently promoted the idea that America was built on Judeo-Christian values. However, as a devout Christian, I have difficulty accepting the term given Judaism's rejection of Jesus. Christians believe Jesus Christ is God. In contrast, the Talmud, a central Jewish holy book, teaches that Jesus is burning in hellfire and excrement. And while the New Testament tells us to love our enemies and pray for those who persecute us, Sovereign 15 of the Talmud states that even the best of the Gentiles should be killed. Given these irreconcilable differences, why do you insist on using this oxymoronic term?
Okay, so first of all, that's a really bad read of the Talmud. Second of all, the notion that you can
And so,
cite any text in support of the idea that Judaism broad writ is somehow disdainful or hateful of Christians or of people who are not Jewish is in fact a tremendous misread of Judaism over.
And so, I mean, like I said, right? Ben Shapiro is not the right person to ask about this. If this was me personally, I would go to somebody who is far more knowledgeable in their scripture. But based off of the videos that I see, right? When Christians are either walking out of their churches, I've seen a video recently where a bunch of Christians were walking out of the churches with cross, and you had the Jews walking by, and they were spitting on them. And so, based off of seeing that, people would just come to a conclusion to assume that Jews might not like Christians. And also, when you look at the history, if you study the history of the Jews and the Christians, again, Christian persecuted the Jews a lot. They were killing Jews in the thousands. All right, and so they have history that goes far back. All right, and so based off of these action that you will see in today's modern age, where they will spit on Christians, any regular Christian who sees this will probably come to a conclusion that perhaps these people hate us simply because we are Christian. But they also have an explanation for that as to why they spit on them. I don't really know the exact reason. I can't give it to you right now, but when you go to when you go to a rabbi explaining it, I'm sure they will give you a far better answer than what I would give you.
The centuries and particularly today. I can cite sections in the New Testament that I find personally problematic. I can certainly cite segments in the Quran that I find personally problematic. The truth is I could probably find places in the Old Testament that I find personally problematic. That does not speak to what Judaism is and its historic impact on the world. Judaism is the foundation of Christianity. Jesus himself acknowledged this. The New Testament acknowledges this. The notion that Judaism and Christianity are somehow completely delinked and teach two completely separate lessons ignores the fact that the Old Testament is part and parcel of the New Testament. Sure, Christians and Jews think different things. Of course. Otherwise, I'd be a Christian or you'd be a Jew. If we thought completely the same thing, then presumably we would have the exact same religion. But the notion that Judaism and Christianity are completely delinked is wrong. As far as miscitations from the Talmud, or even citations of texts that are written in the year 500 CE at a time when Jews were being persecuted by Christians in the Roman Empire, that seems to me a real stretch to get to the idea that Jews today are overall hateful of Christians. I'm not sure that there's anybody in America, personally speaking, who's pushed more people back to church than me. I really don't know that there is anybody who's done that. I tell Christians literally all the time to go to church. I tell Christians all the time to re-engage with their faith. I think it is deeply, deeply important that they do. I don't try to convert people to Judaism because that's actually forbidden in Jewish law. I'm not supposed to convert people to Judaism. So I know there's a group of people who spend all day online cherry-picking bad lines from the Talmud, a text that they have no familiarity with, and then trying to spin that into a giant myth about how Jews are seeking the extermination of Christians or some other bizarre conspiracy theory.
Just to make everything clear, I'm not saying that Jews are trying to exterminate Christians or anything like that, or they're out to kill. I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about what I see, and I'll show you guys some proof of what it says about Jesus in their Talmud. And in case you haven't noticed, the only thing that he's pretty much saying is that, oh, you guys are misinterpreting the verse. But I'm gonna read the verse to you after this video, and you tell me if it's being misinterpreted and how would you interpret that verse.
It's a lie, it's stupid, and the Judeo-Christian values of the nation are quite real because, once again, Judaism and Christianity have an awful lot in common.
Okay, and so with that being done, let me go ahead and show you guys exactly. All right. All right, so I was reading a little bit, right? And one thing that I came across was that they were comparing Jesus to this name right here, named Balaam. I'm hoping that I'm pronouncing this right. And so it says right here, Balaam was a wicked prophet in the Bible and is networthy because although he was a wicked prophet, he was not a false prophet. That is, Balaam did hear from God, and God did give him some true prophecies to speak. However, Balaam's heart was not right with God, and eventually he showed his true color by betraying Israel and leading them astray. So they said, no, they compared Jesus to this Balaam. All right. And so, with that being said, automatically they've already put Jesus in a bad light. And then, if you read the perspective of Muslims on who Jesus was, things will start to make sense. Everything will start to make sense because we believe that during the time of Jesus, the rabbis, they were treating the religion like a business, which is why in the Bible where you will read that Jesus went into the temples and he flipped the tables over and so on and so forth, and he took a whip and just whipped them all out of there. You get the idea, right? And so because of this reason, they did not like who Jesus was. They did not like the fact that Jesus would come and pretty much change their way of life. And so that's why they attempted to kill him. From the Islamic perspective, we don't believe that Jesus died, and so they attempted to kill him. From the Christian perspective, they believe that Jesus died. They believe that the Jews were successful in eliminating Jesus, and so that brings me to this verse right here, right, of what the guy was asking about. And in case you haven't noticed, like I said, Ben Shapiro doesn't really go over the verse, and I don't blame him. Why? Because I don't believe that he is somebody who is extremely knowledgeable when it comes to their scripture. And so it says right here, Jesus describe him enduring eternal punishment in hell, submerged in the boiling excrement. Yes, poop. This punishment is presented in a retribution for his alleged misdeed and for supplying for um, supposedly leading the people of Israel away from God and toward idolatry. And so I don't believe that. I don't believe that. And again, they claim that they killed Jesus. And so after the whole situation happened where they claimed that they killed Jesus and Jesus was sent into heaven, you need to understand that the story is written by the victor is what they say, right? The Christian came with the New Testament. The Jews still have the Old Testament, and this is what they believe is happening to Jesus as we speak right now. And this is not my word. This is what's his name? Dr. Ethan Barr. He was pretty much somebody who was a Jew, and eventually he became a Christian. So, and currently he is living in, I think currently living in Israel. So he has close access. I'm sure he probably went and spoke with a lot of rabbis to try to, get a better understanding of the whole situation. And the fact that he wrote this article confirming the question of the guy and Ben Shapiro saying that he misunderstood the Talmud, you tell me, who should we listen to? A person who is living in Israel, has access to the rabbis and has access to the Talmud, or Ben Shapiro who goes and debate a bunch of college students? So I'll let you be the judge. And so, with that being said, I just wanted to go ahead and, you know, let you know what the Talmud says about Jesus and what the Jews believe about Jesus. And now, as a Muslim, I find this extremely disrespectful. I don't even want to get into what they say about our Mother Mary. I don't even want to get into that because I find it extremely abhorrent trying to just pronounce the word that they say about her. Because in the Quran, she is the head of all the women. She has been put in an extremely high position. And me reading something that they said about her, I don't want to read it. And even reading this, I feel sick to my stomach having to read this. And so, with that being said, I will let you guys go. And, you know, I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about this whole situation today. And so, I'll catch you guys up later.